Chapter 14. Alcohol versus Marijuana. I think it's interesting. The two drugs that are legal, alcohol and cigarettes, two drugs that do absolutely nothing for you at all, are legal, and the drugs that might open your mind up to realize how you're being fucked every day of your life, those drugs are against the law. Coincidence? This is a quote by comedian Bill Hicks. There's strong evidence that alcohol causes cancer. Jenny Connor from the University of Otago, in New Zealand wrote in the journal Addiction that alcohol is estimated to have caused about 500,000 deaths from cancer in 2012, which was 5.8% of cancer deaths worldwide. She found the evidence of links between drinking and cancer of the mouth and throat, larynx, esophagus, liver, colon, bowel and breast. We see the risk increasing as the amount of alcohol consumed increases, and we agree that there is solid evidence to conclude that alcohol consumption directly causes cancer, said Susanna Brown, Science Program Manager for the World Cancer Research Fund. Regardless of how much or how little is consumed, alcohol will always be a Class A1 carcinogen. According to a team of international researchers publishing a study in the journal Scientific Reports, their findings suggest that the risks of marijuana, linked to mortality, are trumped when compared to alcohol substances. The results confirm that the risks of cannabis may have been overestimated in the past, at least for the endpoint of mortality. The margin of exposure for THC cannabis in both individual and population-based assessments would be above safety thresholds, for example 100 for data based on animal experiments. In contrast, the risks of alcohol may have been commonly underestimated. The National Cancer Institute, recently on its website, included studies on marijuana showing that it can and has killed cancer cells. Cannabinoids may inhibit tumor growth by causing cell death, blocking cell growth and blocking the development of blood vessels needed by tumors to grow. Cannabinoids may protect against inflammation of the colon and may have potential in reducing the risk of colon cancer. A laboratory study of cannabidiol, CBD, in estrogen receptor positive and estrogen receptor negative breast cancer cells showed that it caused cancer cell death while having little effect on normal breast cells. According to scientists from the American Association of Cancer Research, the psychoactive ingredient in cannabis, THC, cuts tumor growth in common lung cancer in half and significantly reduces the ability of the cancer to spread. Dr. Donald Tashkin, professor of medicine at UCLA, said although the researchers do not know why THC inhibits tumor growth, they say the substance could be activating molecules that arrest the cell cycle. They speculate that THC may also interfere with angiogenesis and vascularization, which promotes cancer growth. Dr. Russo, a neurologist and World Authority on Medical Cannabis, says that the Guzman study is important. Cancer occurs because cells become immortalized. They fail to heed normal signals to turn off growth. A normal function of remodeling in the body requires that cells die on cue. This is called apoptosis or programmed cell death. That process fails to work in tumors. THC promotes its reappearance so that gliomas, leukemias, melanomas and other cell types will in fact heed the signals, stop dividing and die. The other way that tumors grow is by ensuring that they are nourished. They send out signals to promote angiogenesis, the growth of new blood vessels. Cannabinoids turn off these signals as well. Interestingly, cannabidiol or CBD does not produce the psychoactive properties of the cannabis plant. Cannabidiol has the potential to heal a wide range of common diseases such as diabetes, insomnia, anxiety, depression, migraines, asthma, scar tissue, Crohn's disease, seizures, schizophrenia, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's and cancer. Cannabinoids are not only found in the cannabis plant. The human body has an entire system that utilizes cannabinoids, which is known as the endocannabinoid system. We can distinguish between endocannabinoids, produced by the body, phytocannabinoids, produced by the plant, and synthetic cannabinoids, produced by the pharmaceutical companies. Man-made, synthetic cannabinoids are the big pharma ways of cashing in on what nature provides by isolating the natural chemical compound before slightly altering it, then getting a patent before marketing it to the public with the full force of the government behind it. The Italian researcher Vincenzo Di Marzo commented, "Relax, eat, sleep, forget and protect might be some of the messages that are produced by the actions of endocannabinoids alone or in combination with other mediators." Preclinical studies indicated that cannabidiol has a list of extensive healing properties because it acts as an anti-carcinogenic agent. CBD stops cancer cells proliferating or reproducing, anti-proliferative. It prevents malignant tumors from forming the blood vessels they need to grow, anti-angiogenic. It hinders or stops cell division, anti-mitogenic. Prevents cancer from spreading to other organs, anti-metastatic. It is an analgesic and helps those suffering from inflammatory disease or conditions with chronic pain. It has become famous for its ability to stop seizures and treat epilepsy. Cancer cells have distorted damaged DNA, so when a cell turns cancerous, the number of cannabinoid receptors in the cell increases. Your body uses its endocannabinoid anandamide to stimulate the production of ceramide, which kills cancer cell mitochondria, starving the cancer cell. Ceramide is intelligently guided and somehow knows to kill damaged cells only and leave the healthy ones intact. Is this because all cells within the human body have their own consciousness? Wikipedia states that cannabidiol is one of at least 113 active cannabinoids identified in cannabis. It is considered to have a wide scope of potential medical applications due to clinical reports showing the lack of side effects, particularly a lack of psychoactivity. A 2014 review stated that cannabidiol has been claimed to be of benefit in helping people with epilepsy, and a review in the 2016 New England Journal of Medicine states that since 2013, data has been collected on patients with severe epilepsy, and among 137 patients treated with Epidiolex, the median reduction in the number of seizures was 54%. Cannabidiol is only available with a prescription in Canada and only available in an oral spray formation on prescription for multiple sclerosis in the UK, but that is due to change because Sky News and the Mirror newspaper reported in January 2017 that products that contain cannabidiol, or CBD, are to be classed as medicines by the UK Medicines Regulator in late 2017. The United States Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, reports that more than 37,000 annual U.S. deaths are attributed to alcohol use. The annual cost of alcohol consumption is $165 per user compared to just $20 per user for cannabis. A growing number of studies indicates that cannabis actually has neuroprotective properties, meaning that it works to protect brain cells from harm. Research published in the journals Behavioral Brain Research and Experimental Brain Research demonstrated that even low doses of THC, around 1,000 to 10,000 times less than that in a conventional cannabis cigarette, can jumpstart biochemical processes which protect brain cells and preserve cognitive function. In 2006, Dr. Donald Tashkin from UCLA found that cannabis smoking was not associated with an increased risk of developing lung cancer. Researchers found that people who smoked cannabis actually had lower incidences of cancer compared to non-users of the drug. The National Institute on Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism reported that 25–30% of violent crimes in the United States are linked to the drinking of alcohol. This translates to 5 million alcohol-related violent crimes per year. Studies have consistently shown that alcohol, unlike cannabis, contributes to the likelihood of aggressive and violent behavior. Hemp oil extracts containing cannabinoids are a threat to pharmaceutical companies, so the FDA are trying to outlaw them. As of March 2016, the FDA has started sending aggressive warning letters to CBD product marketers, claiming that they are in violation of FDA regulations because they are selling adulterated products. Surely this is a joke. These CBDs are non-psychoactive compounds found naturally in hemp plants. The FDA has now outlawed them as being used or sold as dietary supplements. It targets companies that have inaccurate label claims or those that are committing fraud in claiming CBD concentrations that don't exist in their products. This second point is a positive thing. So what's the goal of the FDA? Possibly denying Americans natural healing medicine that works at a lower cost than the synthetic products made by manufacturers for a significantly higher price, to target honest suppliers of CBDs by intimidation and threats in order to destroy the industry and protect the monopolies of Big Pharma and their massive profits, in turn controlling and reducing the population. Americans and the rest of the world's population have a right to nature's wonders, including access to the planet's healing plants. Are the FDA seeking to destroy that right in the United States? Jim Marrs writes that over the years, federal government officials have consistently denied that marijuana has any medical benefits, but according to the U.S. Patent Office, the description for a 2003 patent entitled Cannabinoids as Antioxidants and Neuroprotectants states that cannabinoids, among other things, may limit neurological damage in stroke and trauma victims as well as treat neurodegenerative diseases such as Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease and HIV-related dementia. Alan St. Pierre makes an interesting point because he noted that annual marijuana arrests have almost tripled since the early 1990s. He also noted that arrests for heroin and cocaine have declined in the same period. He said arresting hundreds of thousands of Americans who smoke marijuana responsibly needlessly destroys the lives of otherwise law-abiding citizens, and increased enforcement of the possession and trafficking of more dangerous drugs. Enforcing marijuana prohibition costs taxpayers between $10 billion and $12 billion annually and has led to the arrest of almost 20 million Americans. It makes no sense to continue to treat nearly half of all Americans as criminals for their use of a substance that poses far fewer health risks than alcohol or tobacco. There is only one enemy: the people to whom we pay our taxes, the war makers, the corporate and financial gangsters and the destroyers of nature for profit. With our funding, they are destroying the earth before our eyes. Millions of deaths worldwide each year are caused by tobacco and millions more by alcohol, but no one has ever died from marijuana. In the entire history of the human race, not one death can be attributed to cannabis. Our society has outlawed hemp but condones and promotes the use of the real killers, tobacco and alcohol. Why would this be? Because it's all done in the name of profits and the subtle depopulation agenda. This is a quote by John Hamer.